Let's continue talking some sports here on a Sunday. We bring in our producer, Addie Bates, who's very excited about something. I assume the Astros just erased the no-hitter?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would like to say, first off, my favorite thing about the Astros is how they make these average pitchers. Jack Leiter, 3.53 ERA, look like Cy Young, like the next coming of Cy Young. And yes, Yainer Diaz, home run.
Oh,
Solo. Oh, yeah.
Right,
So it's 3-1,
Gotcha.
but there's a chance.
And Valdez already cashed his strikeout prop that
Yes.
he gave out earlier.
Yes.
Well
so
done.
if you were listening to Inside the Betting Lines in the first hour.
Skeens, by the way, is absolutely dealing. I know he hasn't given up a run. I think I last saw on one of the ESPN tickers, he had like 4 or 5 strikeouts.
I should probably
he's got
check
6.
that.
He's got 6, Denton,
If he gets
and he's only at
pulled.
60 pitches. So
If he gets pulled.
you're in a good spot, as the Phillies have taken a 1-0 lead. But Skeens looking good so far. Davis Riley and JT Poston both bogeyed their first hole. So here we go, Den, with the leaderboard gravity. Everybody's starting to fall, just opening things up even more for Scotty. Hopefully Tony Finau can make a little noise.
And John Rahm right now sitting there
climb
at
up.
6 under, just got to pass Norn, and I cashed my plus 450.
There you
for winner not named Scotty Scheffler.
There you go. All right, Addie, what do we have?
Let's start with MLB. So we've seen 3 managers fired in the past 2 weeks. Derek Shelton, Bud Black, who by the way, we predicted that about an hour before it happened on this show last weekend, and Brandon Hyde. Now, do we think any other managers are on thin ice? Dave Martinez, Ron Washington, Pat Murphy.
Paul Skeens, 7 strikeouts.
Attaboy.
Paul Skeens is not going to get fired.
He is not going to get fired. He's going to get paid a lot of money.
He's very good at his job. I think it would be Davey Martinez of the Nationals. I think that would be the guy to look at. Ron Washington, I mean, they're with the Angels. Like, what are you gonna do? I mean, they got Ohtani, didn't re-sign with them a couple years ago. Trout just can never stay healthy. There's really no young pieces to build around with the Angels. Pat Murphy, Milwaukee's not having the season that we all thought they would, but they're still kind of there in contention. I think he's good. Davey Martinez, people talk about this all the time. When you win a championship, usually you have like a 5-year window before the fan base really starts to get like the urge to win another one, right? You win a title, and the Nats did that back in 2019, and now here we are in 2025, and it's like, it's time to start winning again. So, Martinez, he won the World Series. I think they gave him a longer leash, certainly, than had he not won a World Series. But now that they're going through the rebuild, and I think a lot of people expect the Nats to be a little bit more competitive than they are this year. Their record isn't probably what people thought. I think his seat's starting to get a little hot. So I don't think we're going to see another managerial firing here soon. But if we were, I think it's probably going to end up being Dave Martinez. That would be my guess.
The only reason why I would say not Davey Martinez is because his contract's up at the end of the year. So you just can let the contract run out and say, all right, we're just going to go in a different direction. So that might stop Mike Rizzo from pulling the trigger there. I would say probably Ron Washington, which stinks because all the things that you mentioned are 100% correct. I mean, you want to talk about how management has not been helping. It's a combination of management and the bodies of the players not helping the Angels be good for such a long period of time. Like, that is the franchise that is the epitome of that. So it's unfair to Ron Washington, but it feels like if someone goes, which I'm not expecting someone, like getting 3 before Memorial Day is absurd, but he would be the one that I would look at.
Now, I kind of agree with you on that one. I don't think another one will happen. I will say losing that many is crazy. If there was a market for that, I would have not even have guessed that. But Ron Washington, they've gotten some better players this year on their team. You say Kikuchi on the starting rotation was supposed to help out and stuff, but I don't see them. They're just not as competitive as the other teams in the AL West. I don't think he's going to get fired, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of turnaround next year. Same with Davey Martinez. Pat Murphy, Lord knows what's going on that team, but I don't think there will be any other firings on that team. But there will be some people who leave tonight in the NHL. The Panthers and Maple Leafs play Game 7 tonight. It's an elimination game, so who do you think is on thin ice in this game?
The Leafs, man.
It's got to be Toronto.
They better win this game. They better win this game. This is the biggest game the Leafs have played in God knows how long. It's been a long, long time. I would almost like this game better for the Leafs if they were on the road. When the Caps finally exercised the demons against Pittsburgh, they were on the road. I think there's something to be said when you play for these organizations where they haven't had a lot of success and there's so much pressure and you're in these like hockey crazed towns, these NBA, MLB, whatever it is, just being on the road away from everything, the Leafs, it just feels like they're a different team at home. And if something goes wrong at the start of this game, I think it could unravel for them. The start is really important for the Leafs. They were terrific in Game 6. Their goalie was excellent, pitched a shutout. So I like the Panthers tonight, though. I think they bounce back. I think they win the game. It should be close. Kind of like the over, too. You can get plus money over 5.5. Again, Game 7, everybody's kind of thinking over or under. I kind of like the over, and I like the Panthers as well. But, man, all the pressure's on the Leafs tonight. They got to win this game.
All the pressure is on them, and they're the ones that are on thin ice, it feels like right now. It's the weight of a country on their shoulders. With all due respect to Florida, they got the weight of a state that doesn't really care about them that much. I can't imagine the pressure that's going in on this Toronto Maple Leafs team, so I think they're the one that are on thin ice. But let me tell you, if they win tonight, PJ, I think what's happening in New York right now might be they're going to make that look small. If the Maple Leafs get back to the Cup potentially, I think it's going to be partying across the country for days and days and days.
I would agree.
Now, I would say the Leafs playoff run historically atrocious. But the thing that I think is really interesting, the added pressure on this one, says the Maple Leafs 6-game losing streak in Game 7 is the second longest active one. So there's that on top of that. So I don't see them coming back tonight. I don't think they're going to win it. I think for some reason they just have this like cloud that hangs over their head in the playoffs where they cannot actually perform. So because of that, I think it'll be the Panthers. And like you said, if the Panthers lose, no offense, as a Lightning fan, the state of Florida has had its fair share of hockey victories. So I don't think if the Leafs were to win, I think that'd be something exciting to see. But I just don't see that happening. But there is also another Game 7 and another world of sports. Nuggets versus Thunder starts at 3:30. So during the show, who's on thin ice in that game?
I mean, the pressure, again, is on OKC. Like this, the opportunity that they have, right, especially with the way that the playoffs have unraveled, Denton, there's no Lakers, they're knocked out. There's no Warriors, they're knocked out. And then how about in the Eastern Conference, Celtics and Cavs are both knocked out too, right? So if OKC wins tonight, they are going to be the heavy favorites to win the title. They're going to be minus money. They're really the only team that kind of fits the historical data of a team that usually wins the championship in the NBA. And even though this team is still young, they still, have some really bright years ahead of them. This is one of those games that if you lose this, it maybe makes Sam Presti reevaluate things, right? Like, does he get super aggressive in the offseason? Does he really try and mortgage some of those picks to go out and get somebody else? It's kind of one of those huge games for the Thunder where they have a massive opportunity here to win an NBA title. And for a young team that's at home, they should win this game. They're big favorites. It's a big opportunity. So Thunder, all the pressure for sure on them.
I think it's on Denver because I don't know what this team's going to look like next year if they don't win. They've already fired their head coach. Aaron Gordon said he's going to try and give it a go today. I don't anticipate him to play, but he said he's going to try. I don't know how that organization is going to look. Like, what kind of blowing up of the roster do they do if they cannot get to the Western Conference Finals? Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, I feel like, would be safe. I don't know who else is at that point. So I think they're under a lot of pressure to get the win, get back to the conference finals, and then potentially compete for another championship. You have the best player in the world. You got to win games and in Game 7s if you have the best player in the world.
Now I've seen a bunch of videos right now. So Aaron Gordon was warming up for about 25 minutes, and people are now saying that he is going to play. So if he is 100% in.
Good for him. I'm always very worried when it comes to like those kind of injuries in the hamstrings and the tissues. You take one bad step, you could just be jogging down the court, plays on the complete opposite side. You take one step and then you're donezo.
I agree. Now he's warming up, and if he is available to play, we'll see just how much he does play. But I'm with Denton, man. That's tough.